Video games are arguably at their best when they let you embark on grand adventures through fantastical worlds, and that's precisely what any RPG should try to do. 2022 proved to be a great year for games of this ilk, with the likes of Horizon Forbidden West, and 2023 and beyond is similarly packed with exciting RPGs. STARFIELD. STARFIELD is easily one of the most exciting games on this list, simply because it's Bethesda's first new IP in over 25 years. But this space odyssey isn't just all show and no substance. STARFIELD is set to be a premier next-gen Bethesda RPG with cutting-edge graphics, and a gargantuan open world comprising of over 100 fully explorable planets. As for the gameplay, expect the same loop of tackling quests and leveling up as you work your way through the main story, though the actual mechanics seem much more polished this time around. It'll be released for Xbox Series X and S and PC sometime in 2023. Final Fantasy XVI. In Final Fantasy XVI, kingdoms are falling prey to a corrupting force called the Blight. You assume the role of Clive Rosefield on a quest to find a cure for this raging illness, which will be punctuated with a heavy dose of challenging combat encounters and flashy encounters. The game features a modern combat system and will be released for PS5 on June 22, 2023. WUKONG Fallen Dynasty. Team Ninja has carved out a niche for its signature brand of Souls-like gameplay with Nioh, and its upcoming WUKONG Fallen Dynasty looks like a natural evolution of that foundation. Set against the backdrop of ancient China, WUKONG Fallen Dynasty tells the story of a warrior becoming a legend of the land by besting the many challenges that lie in his path. The combat is absolutely brutal, with swift-moving enemies and hard-to-dodge attacks. But on the flip side, you also get a ton of options in how you go about enemy encounters. You could play with ranged weaponry, parry at the last moment for critical damage, or call upon the powers of beasts to wreak havoc upon your adversaries. All in all, it's really promising, and we can't wait to dive into this game when it releases for all major last-gen and current-gen console platforms and PC on March 3rd, 2023. Diablo 4. Diablo is easily one of the best dungeon crawlers of all time, and each release in the franchise is eagerly anticipated by millions of fans across the globe, which remains true for Diablo 4 as well. It is set to introduce a new open-world structure to the gameplay proceedings, which should offer freedom of choice like never before. The developers are also promising better dungeon designs and loot quality alongside the familiar gameplay of the series. So there's a lot to get excited about for when it releases for all major current-gen and last-gen console platforms and PC sometime in 2023. Forspoken. Forspoken puts players into the shoes of Frey Holland, a former New Yorker who magically gets transported to Athia, only to be awakened with a sentient bracelet magically attached to her hand. The story revolves around our protagonist trying to save this land from the clutches of evil, but the gameplay loop is definitely the more exciting aspect here. You can use hundreds of different spells during combat, which can be used for different purposes, like crowd control, DPS, or charged attacks, which looks fresh and exciting. The traversal revolves around parkouring across the open world, which also looks really cool. It will be released for PS5 and PC on January 24th, 2023. Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy looks like everything that a Potterhead would want from a video game adaptation of this cultural behemoth, which is precisely why it's one of the most anticipated video games of the year. You start your journey as a student of this esteemed wizarding school, and the story will revolve around the resurgence of an ancient magical power, which could be used for destructive purposes. The combat is based around using spells to down enemies, and you can also take up classes and run errands for NPCs around the map to advance your character stats to take on even tougher challenges. It'll be released for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on the 10th of February 2023. Dead Island 2. When it was almost certain that Dead Island 2 was, well, dead in the water, Deep Silver re-emerged from the water once again with a new trailer for the game last year. Dambuster Studios is hard at work on the project, and it looks really promising. The combat is heavily based around crafting melee weapons to plow through hordes of zombies, and the game allows you to do that either alone or with a group of friends. You'll unlock new skills and abilities as you progress through the story, and thanks to the emphasis on flexibility and customization, crafting wacky builds should hopefully be a fun time. It releases for all major last-gen and current-gen platforms and PC on April 28, 2023. Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong looks like an appropriately grand adventure through these fantastical lands dotted with memorable boss fights and other obstacles. The visuals are absolutely breathtaking thanks to the horsepower of the Unreal Engine 5, and the combat is as much of its own thing as it is a culmination of From Software's Souls-like mechanics. It releases for all major last-gen and current-gen console platforms and PC sometime in summer of 2024. FABLE. FABLE is making a return with an upcoming reboot, which is currently in development at Playground Games. While details on the gameplay front remain scant for now, the cinematic trailer looks definitely promising, and we are largely satisfied with the direction that the developers seem to be taking with this project. It will be released for Xbox Series X and S and PC sometime in the future. Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart is set in an alternate history Soviet Union dystopia where robots are now wreaking havoc on the existence of humankind. You play as Agent P3, who has been sent on an investigation mission to uncover the reality behind it all, and this brings you into a direct conflict with these antagonistic forces roaming the lands. You can use anything from firearms and melee weapons to telekinesis to take these groups of enemies down, and it looks appropriately brutal with hard-hitting attacks and plenty of visual feedback to go along with it. The art direction is phenomenal, and we'll be checking Atomic Heart out when it releases for PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC on the 21st of February of 2023. Wild Hearts. The newest game under EA Originals publishing label, Wild Hearts, is Koei Tecmo's take on a Monster Hunter-style open-world experience. So fans can expect to face seemingly insurmountable threats in the form of the many great beasts that roam these lands. But what differentiates Wild Hearts is its reliance on crafting, which serves plenty of different purposes, ranging from helping in exploration to assisting in combat and much more. It'll be released for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on February 16, 2023. Legend of Heroes: Trails to Reverie. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Reverie puts players into the shoes of three separate protagonists as a long and intertwining story unfolds in the fantastical land of Zemuria. It seems that choices will play an important role in this story, and the combat seems rooted in turn-based and tactical traditions, so it's worth keeping an eye out for fans who are into such experiences. It releases worldwide for Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation 4, and 5 on the 7th of July, 2023. Rise of Ronin. Yet another Team Ninja developed title on this list, Rise of Ronin seems to be heavily influenced by Ghost of Tsushima, right from the story which revolves around freeing your homeland from a foreign invader to the stylish combat and eventful open world. That said, Rise of Ronin's combat is also faster in terms of pacing, and you get interesting tools like a wingsuit to get around the open world. It releases for PS5 sometime in the future, so stay tuned for more details on the matter. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes aims to give players the classic experience, and it seems to be ticking all the right boxes in that regard. You get the option of choosing from a vast character pool of 100 heroes as you make your own story in a world ravaged by war and conflict. The graphics are heavily inspired by modern role-playing games, and the combat is just what one would expect from a game of this ilk. Lies of P. NeoWiz's upcoming Lies of P is based on the popular story of Pinocchio, and will take players on a journey of him becoming a human once again. The art direction looks superb, and the combat follows the Souls-like rulebook pretty closely with tough enemies and bosses lurking around every corner. It releases for all major last-gen and current-gen console platforms and PC sometime this year. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request: we upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.